Guys, this is Kelly. I am back with a process video. This layout is for Coco Daisy and it is for their Designer's Challenge, which was to use a large photo this month. So I have hoarded this piece of paper from Pink Paisley. I love it. I love the wood grain, the colors of it. It's just beautiful. And so I decided that I was going to use that for this photo. Now I'm trying to decide if I want the wood slats to go up and down or horizontal, and I determined that I like it better horizontal. My thought with vertical placement was that there's a fence in the background and it would just repeat those lines, but there was something about the horizontal placement of the wood grain paper that just was more pleasing to the eye for me. So as I'm looking at this, it's a little bit of a challenge for me to work on this page. I am so used to doing 4x6 or smaller photos that to use a larger photo like this really challenges you to think outside the box and how you're going to embellish the page and what kind of clusters you're going to use. So I just went through some of the things that I had already pulled out from the kit. I had previously cut the sand dollar from the Coco Daisy exclusive files, and I'm just going through some of the Vicky Bouton tags just to kind of see things that maybe will work. You know, like I said, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with this layout. It was definitely a challenge. So I like the idea of placing a day in the life card to the left of the photo. And I like this card. As a matter of fact, it's one of my favorite cards, but I decided that it wasn't perfect, and so I wanted to go through my other day in the life cards that I had, and I had put aside last month's cards as well because they were very summer themed as well, and I chose a few more cards that could possibly work. So I now have 3 day in the life cards that I'm contemplating using to the left of my photo. So while I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, I've decided to go ahead and fussy cut out this camera from the Pink Paisley sheet. I love the camera. It is so cute. It looks like a little Instax camera, and I know that if I'm not going to use it on this page, I will use it eventually. So at this point, like I said, I'm still not quite sure what I want to do, so I decided I'm going to trim down the photo mat just a little bit because I felt like it was a little too large, and I decided for something different I'm going to go ahead and keep the photo mat and the photo flush against the right hand side. Now I chose the right hand side as my side because the left hand side is a little bit more empty space that I can cover up, as well as Emily's head. They're both looking pretty much straight at the viewer, but I guess the way Emily's head was tilted, I just felt like it would look better either in the center of the page or towards the right hand side. So again, I'm not sure what I want to do, so I found that other Pink Paisley paper, and I'm going to fussy cut out those flip-flops in just a minute. I love that piece of paper. It has various phrases and some images that look like they're watercolored on the paper, and I decided that flip-flops on a beach page would be perfect. So it kind of is going outside of the colors that I ended up or thought I was going to work with. At this point, I thought it was going to be kind of a monochromatic layout with the different blues and the whites, but I felt like it really needed something a little bit different, and I liked the way those flip-flops filled out that part of the cluster. So at this point, I'm thinking, what else can I pull in that has some of those colors? And I go back to the sheet and I cut out this watercolored flower. Now the flower is a different color altogether. It has more of the oranges and yellows in it. The yellow corresponds with the flip-flops, but the oranges really don't. So I'm going to just keep that in the back of my mind and figure out how else I can bring these pops of color together. So I walked away from the layout for a little bit. I brainstormed on my title and just thought of some different ways that I could jazz up the layout, and I decided that I wanted to go ahead and rough up the edges with my distress tool. The wood paper begs to be distressed on the edges because, you know, it is a distressed wood, so I thought that that would help bring a little interest to the page. And I also had some of these yellow strips of pattern paper that I had cut for another layout that I didn't use, and I thought that that might be a way to bring in some more of the color that I was working on when I had cut out the flip-flops. So I really like the strips of the yellow pattern paper. It is by Pink Paisley, and it's gorgeous. It is like I can't remember what design is on the page, but it's very subtle, and it also has multi colors besides the yellow. It's just a very pretty page. So I just want to use my T-square ruler and line this up. I just want a little hint of the yellow showing, not a lot, just enough to bring that yellow from the flip-flops up into the top and the bottom. I have pretty much decided that I'm going to use Sunkissed as my title. These letters are by Pebbles, and they are my favorite alphas in a very long time. I love these. I think I'm going to have to get another package of them. I am already out of S's and I believe out of C's. So they're just very versatile. They work beautifully with the Pink Paisley papers, and it's just one of those letters. The font is a good font and the color is just exquisite. So I am going to go ahead and put some foam behind that flower and pop it up. It gives it a little dimension and gives it just a little extra something on the page. And I had pulled out some yellow sequins. Those are from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and those sequins were in a previous Cocoa Daisy kit. And I love when I can pull out things from previous kits and make them work for my current kit. It just really makes me feel like, you know, I'm getting the most bang for my buck when I'm able to do things like that. So I put aside the sand dollar and thought that the starfish worked a little bit better in this cluster just because of the shape. The little arms of the starfish are able to kind of circle around the flip-flops, and I like the way that it looks. So that is just one of the things that one of the reasons why I chose to go with that shape. So I've put a little bit of craft foam underneath the flip-flops, so I'm needing to put a little bit of craft foam underneath the starfish as well. So I'm going to move around the sequins just a little bit, and I decide pretty quickly where I want them, which is very unusual for me. And I love that little pop of yellow, and just it's not a shimmer, but it just gives a little bit of bling to the page as well. So these letter stickers or the letter alphas, I'm going to just move until I get the title centered where I want it. And I am going to have to go back, and I can't remember if I do this on camera or off, and use my Scotch tacky adhesive to glue them down. There is not much adhesive on the back. So I'm sorry that you can't quite see this. I took the exclusive stamp set and I stamped another starfish on that Pink Paisley paper. That paper I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with because it has a lot of colors, and I thought that by stamping on the different shades that it would help bring some of those pinks and the pinks to the top of the page. And I love the way that little starfish came out. So if you have a piece of paper like this paper and you're not sure what to do with it, stamping an image is always an idea, because, you know, it brings that little pop of color that I was missing. So this ribbon is also from a previous kit, and, you know, I have an iris container that I hold all of the little, you know, pieces and little bits of ribbon, flare, stickers from my previous Cocoa Daisy kits. So when I'm working with something and I'm looking for a little something extra, I go into that iris container and usually I can find what I need. So I had pulled this blue label from my stash at the bottom. I felt like that it needed a pop of navy blue at the bottom as well, since I had it in the day in the life card and the label up top. And so that creates a nice visual triangle. And I wanted to keep that cluster very minimal since there was a lot going on at the top and at the left hand side of the photo. Trying to see, oh, at this point I decide that I need another starfish, and I'm just doing it in the darker shade of that pink. There's, like I said, that piece of paper has a lot of different shades of color, and it's just nice where you can pull just another little splash of color, plus it repeats the starfish element on the page. So I was thinking I would put it in that cluster, but I end up liking the two starfish paired together on that label, and I am going to put a pop dot underneath one of them. So I think the last thing I'm going to be doing is stamping the date stamp onto the label. I actually have this date written down, which was good. I'm in a bad habit of not stamping or not putting the date on my pages and then having a pile of them to go back to. So I'm really trying to be good about getting my dates onto my pages, but I can tell you right now, it just hasn't worked so far. So that's it for me today. I've got a few close-up shots at the end where you can see all the little bits and pieces. I am so happy with the way this layout came out. Like I said earlier, big photos frighten me, but I think that I did not go big enough, and that was what made this page a little bit easier for me. So if you want to do this challenge and you are a little intimidated by big photos as well, go bigger than 5x7. 5x7 is what I get hung up on. I think I mentioned earlier that I think this is 6x8 or even an 8x10, and see if that helps. So thanks so much, guys, for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.